Imagine being thrust into a high-stakes competition with your boss where every second counts. Just when you think you have it all figured out, unexpected challenges threaten to tear your partnership apart. Hey there, I'm Anaya and I'm 16 years old. I live in the bustling city of Oakwood where life is always full of surprises. I'm a bit of a dreamer, often lost in my thoughts, but I'm also a hard worker. I love animals, especially dogs, and I believe in the power of friendship. Every day holds a new adventure for me at my job where I work alongside my boss, Mark. Together, we've tackled challenges and learned about teamwork, loyalty, and perseverance. I can't wait to share my story with you. I stood by the window, looking out at the parking lot. My heart raced when I saw Mark. He was pacing in front of his car, his face twisted in anger. I knew it wasn't good. "Look at this, everyone," Mark yelled. "My brand new car. It's all scratched up." I felt a knot in my stomach. He was making a scene? I quickly joined my colleagues outside, hoping to help smooth things over. Mark turned around, his fists clenching. "Who did this? Who scratched my car?" His voice echoed. I could see his eyes flashing like angry lightning. One of our coworkers, Jesse, whispered to me, "He's really losing it." "Yeah, I can see that," I replied, "but it's just a scratch." "Just a scratch?" Mark shouted again. "This is more than just a scratch. I worked hard for this car." I took a deep breath. It was time. "Mark, can't you just calm down?" I said, stepping closer. His gaze snapped to me. "Calm down? You want me to calm down? Look at it." He pointed fiercely at the mark on his car. "I get it. But yelling won't fix it," I argued, trying to keep my voice steady. "Don't you get it?" he snapped. "This is about respect. Someone did this on purpose." My heart raced. I could feel the eyes of our coworkers on us, waiting to see what would happen. "Mark, being angry won't help. You'll get even more upset if you don't let it go." "Let it go?" He tightened his fists. "How can I let it go? Do you think I can just ignore this?" "Maybe talk to someone about it," I suggested gently. I didn't want to back down. But Mark brushed me off. "You don't understand," he said, his voice low and sharp. "I don't? I'm trying to help you." I shot back, my heart pounding. "I don't need your help, Anaya," he yelled. My cheeks burned. I refused to cry. "You think blowing up will solve anything? You're just making yourself look bad." His expression changed. Surprise flickered across his face. "You're standing up to me." "Yes," I replied firmly. "Someone had to say it. You're being unreasonable." Silence hung in the air. I felt the tension between us, thick as fog. Our coworkers looked between us, surprised and curious. Mark's anger flickered, then entirely disappeared. He looked defeated. "Maybe you're right," he said quietly. "Your car can be fixed," I encouraged. "Things happen. It's not the end of the world." He sighed, shoulders slumping. I wanted to be perfect." "I understand," I said softly, "but getting angry won't change anything. It'll only make you feel worse." As I turned to walk away, I heard a whisper from Jesse. "I can't believe Anaya stood up to him like that." I smiled to myself. I felt proud. I wasn't afraid. I had faced Mark's anger head-on and I wouldn't back down again. Was I brave? Maybe a little, but I knew being brave was about the big and small moments. As I walked away, I could feel my colleagues watching me. I wondered what they were thinking. Did they see me differently now? It didn't matter. I'd spoken my truth, and that felt good. The next day, I walked into the office with my head held high. I had decided to do something about the situation with Mark. I felt nervous but excited too. Maybe I could fix things between us. As I entered, I spotted Mark at his desk. He looked deep in thought. I took a deep breath and approached him. "Hey, Mark," I said, trying to sound confident. He looked up, surprised. Anaya, you're back. I didn't expect to see you so soon after yesterday. I know, I said, but I wanted to talk to you about your car. Mark raised an eyebrow. What about it? I was thinking, I hesitated. I'd like to help pay for the scratches. I could pay in tiny parts, like maybe $10 a week. He chuckled, a sound that surprised me. Really? You want to pay me back for a scratch by giving me $10 every week? I nodded earnestly. Yes, I know it's not much, but I want to make things right. I don't want you to be mad at me. His expression softened. You're serious, huh? I admire your courage. He leaned back in his chair, contemplating. Okay, how about this? Why don't I hire you as my temporary assistant during the summer? You can work off the scratch that way. My eyes widened. Wait, really? You'd do that? Sure, he said with a grin. But you better be organized. I need someone who can keep things in order. I nodded eagerly. I can be organized. Mark tilted his head, amusement dancing in his eyes. Great. I'll give you a chance. But fair warning, don't let your style get too chaotic. I felt a jolt of excitement. I promise. The first day on the job felt like a whirlwind. I charged into Mark's office with stacks of papers and colorful sticky notes. Look what I found. These are all the old project ideas. Mark raised an eyebrow. Are those organized? Because they look like a rainbow exploded. I call it organized chaos, I said, smiling. It's fun. He sighed, running his hand through his hair. Anaya, I need order. We can't work like this. You've got to keep things neat. I frowned a bit, but my way is fun. Don't you want to enjoy the files? He crossed his arms. Not when it means searching through mountains of paper. Just think, if you can find what we need quickly, we'll have more time for fun. I bit my lip, trying to understand. Okay, I'll try, but I like using colors. Mark smiled. Colors are fine, just not in every file. Let's find a balance. So I agreed, but I still felt a rush every time I tossed another sticky note around. Look, Mark, this one is bright pink. It's my favorite. His laugh was genuine. It never gets boring with you around, I'll give you that. But as the days passed, I realized our styles clashed. I'd walk in ready for a creative explosion, while he'd be waiting with his planner, looking worried. You have to be on time, Anaya. You can't just breeze in whenever you feel like it. I know, I exclaimed, feeling frustrated, but my brain works better when it's free. Can't you just go with the flow sometimes? Mark stared at me, exasperated. Think of flow as a river, not a waterfall. Too much chaos and everything spills over. I groaned. Fine, I'll try to be more like a river. And so we kept working together, trying to find a middle ground. I wondered how things would ever get better. Could we really mesh our chaotic styles with his need for order? I guess we were about to find out. It was tea break and the office was buzzing with chatter. I felt excited because today I had a plan. I wanted to bring a little fun to Mark's world, so I decided to make tea for all of us. Anaya, are you sure about that? Mark asked, eyeing me as I gathered the supplies. You know how you can be in the kitchen. Trust me, I replied with a grin. I'll be careful. As I poured hot water into the pot, I added the leaves with enthusiasm. This is going to be delicious. But then, disaster struck. I accidentally knocked over a container of sugar. It tumbled off the table, spilling everywhere. Oops, I exclaimed. Sugar grains scattered across the floor like tiny crystals. I couldn't help but laugh. Look at this sweet mess. Mark's eyes widened in horror. Anaya, you can't just spill sugar all over the floor. This is why we can't have nice things. I tried to hold back my laughter but failed. It's just sugar. I'll clean it up. He shook his head, his frustration clear. You don't understand, do you? This isn't a joke. It's a mess. I know. I said I'd clean it, I replied, my voice rising a bit. I'm trying to add some fun into this boring office. Mark sighed, rubbing his temples. Fun doesn't mean chaos. Can't you see that? How about just making the tea properly? I rolled my eyes. There's no need to be so serious. It's just tea. But I could see the irritation in his eyes. As I bent down to clean up the sugar, I felt a flare of annoyance. Why did he have to be so uptight? It can be fun without being perfect, Mark. Well, maybe perfection is what we should aim for here, he shot back, his voice sharp. I felt my heart sink a little. You don't understand creativity, do you? Creativity doesn't mean making a mess, he said. It means getting the job done efficiently. I stood up straight, brushing my hands on my pants. So, you want me to be boring? His expression softened slightly. No, I just want you to be responsible. But why can't we have both? I exclaimed. Why can't we mix fun with responsibility? He paused, considering me. I guess I just don't know how to do that. Maybe we should figure it out together, I said, hoping to lighten the mood. Mark glanced at the sugary mess again, then back to me. Okay, but can we please clean this up first? I nodded and we both knelt to pick up the sugar. As we worked side by side, I could feel the tension slowly fading. After we finished cleaning, I poured the tea and added a touch of honey. Here, this should make up for the mess, I said, handing him a cup. Mark took the cup cautiously, still looking a bit amused. You know, I never expected working with you would be this unpredictable. Unpredictable is my specialty, I replied, holding up my cup. He raised an eyebrow but chuckled. That might be true. Just don't let your unpredictability for the tea get us in trouble again. I laughed. No promises. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were missing each other. I wanted Mark to loosen up, but he just wanted order. As I sat down with my tea, I felt a mix of irritation and admiration for him. Could we ever really understand each other? Would our styles ever mesh? At that moment, I didn't know, but I was determined to try, even if it meant getting messy along the way. It was a typical Wednesday morning in the office when everything changed. Mark had brought his dog, Max, to work that day. I was sketching some ideas at my desk when I noticed Max lying still under the table. Hey Mark, is Max okay? I called, my voice tinged with worry. Mark looked over, his face dropping. Yeah, he's fine. Just resting a bit. But something didn't feel right. Minutes passed and Max didn't move. My heart raced. Mark, I shouted, standing up. He's not moving at all. Mark rushed over. Max, his voice turned frantic. Hey buddy, come on, sit up. But Max remained still, eyes wide and glassy. My stomach twisted in fear. Mark, he doesn't look good. We need to do something. Mark's panic was rising. What do you mean? What should we do? I swallowed hard, trying to think. I've seen this happen before. Sometimes dogs can get sick suddenly. We need to check his pulse. Mark dropped to his knees beside Max, trembling. What do you mean? How? I don't know how to do that. Just trust me, I said, gently placing my fingers on Max's chest. I felt a weak thump beneath my fingers. I feel it, but it's really slow. Mark's breathing was heavy. What should I do? Get him some water. Real quick, I instructed, and grab a blanket. He sprang up and rushed to get the water. I shifted Max's body gently, hoping he could feel my presence. Come on, Max. Mark returned with a small bowl of water and a blanket. I'm here, buddy, Mark murmured, his voice softening. I poured a little water into the bowl and brought it closer to Max's nose. Drink, Max. Just a little sip. You need to stay hydrated. To my surprise, Max licked the water. Yes, good boy, I cried, feeling relief wash over me. Mark watched in awe, his worry melting away. I can't believe he's drinking, he said, kneeling closer. I wrapped Max in the blanket, cradling him gently. He just needs a moment. We should keep him warm. Mark's eyes widened. How do you know all this? I read a lot, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. And I'm a huge animal lover. I've seen pets get sick before. Mark looked at me, surprise flashing in his eyes. You really know what you're doing, don't you? I shrugged. I just acted quickly. That's all. But it worked. His voice was softer now, filled with gratitude. Thank you, Anaya. As I continued to soothe Max, I noticed something shifting in Mark. His usual tough demeanor was melting a bit. I didn't think you could help like this. You really surprised me, he admitted. I smiled, feeling a warmth in my chest. I'm not just chaos, you know. I can be serious too. Yeah, I guess I've seen that now, he said, a hint of admiration in his voice. Max slowly lifted his head, looking around. That's it, buddy, I cheered. You're going to be okay. Mark took a deep breath. You really saved him. I didn't know what to do. I'm just glad I could help, I said, feeling a new spark of pride. Slowly, Max stood up, a wobbly little figure. See? He's up. I laughed, and Mark joined me, relief flooding his face. Anaya, I appreciate you more than I can say, he said quietly. We shared a moment looking at Max, and I felt like something was changing between us. Maybe I wasn't just the chaotic assistant anymore. Maybe I was becoming someone Mark could count on. I hoped this meant we could continue growing closer. As Max wagged his tail, I felt more confident than ever. Perhaps there was more to discover together. But for now, we just watched him, relieved that everything turned out okay. The days that followed were different. Mark and I found ourselves chatting more often. At first, it was about work, but soon our conversations shifted. One afternoon, as we sat at our desks and the sun streamed through the window, Mark leaned back in his chair. You know, Anaya, he began, looking thoughtful, I really appreciate how you handled everything with Max. It surprised me. I smiled, feeling a warmth spreading through me. Thanks, Mark. I'm just glad I could help. No, really, he insisted, his voice serious. You have this resilience. You stay calm under pressure. I felt a blush creeping up my cheeks. I try. I guess I've dealt with tough situations before. Mark turned to face me fully. Like what? Your life seems pretty steady to me. I hesitated, the words catching in my throat. It's not always as easy as it looks. What do you mean? He asked, curiosity shimmering in his eyes. Taking a deep breath, I decided to open up. Well, my family hasn't always been normal. We've faced a lot of challenges. I had to grow up fast. He nodded, paying close attention. Go on. For years, I felt like I had to be the strong one, I admitted, looking down at my hands. My parents struggled a lot. I had to help out cook, clean, take care of my younger siblings. Wow, Mark breathed. That's tough. I didn't know. I looked back up at him, feeling vulnerable. Sometimes I had to put my dreams aside. It was about survival more than anything else. Mark frowned, clearly thinking. And you never let that break you? I shook my head. I learned to push through, but it wasn't easy. There were moments I felt completely lost. He leaned in closer, his tone softening. I can relate, you know. I've had my share of struggles too. Really? I asked, surprised. I wouldn't have guessed. Yeah, well, Mark sighed. I lost my dad when I was younger. Things changed overnight. I had to step up for my family, too. I felt an instant connection. That must have been so hard. It was. I felt pressure to keep everything together, he confessed. But hearing your story makes me realize I'm not alone. I reached out, giving him a reassuring smile. You're definitely not. We all have our battles. Mark looked at me thoughtfully. I admire your strength, Anaya. You've made me see things differently. I felt a flutter of happiness. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. That resilience of yours, it's inspiring, he said, his eyes earnest. It's a quality that really matters. I took a deep breath, feeling lighter. I just try to make the most out of tough situations. For the first time, I noticed how Mark seemed more relaxed around me. There were no more tense interactions, just honest conversations. Let's keep pushing forward together, he said, a smile spreading across his face. You help me look at things differently. I grinned back, and you help me feel like I'm more than just chaos. As we continued talking, I felt stronger. I realized Mark saw me in a new light. I wasn't just his quirky assistant anymore. We were two people with stories and struggles. With each shared experience, I felt our bond growing. As the clock ticked on, I knew this was just the beginning of something special. Together, we could navigate anything that came our way. It was a quiet Friday night at the office. The work had slowed down and I found myself organizing some files in Mark's office. The faint glow from the desk lamp cast a cozy light around the room, making it feel more relaxed. Mark leaned back in his chair, looking thoughtful. Anaya, he started, his tone serious, can I ask you something? Of course, I replied, glancing up from the papers. Why do you never seem intimidated by me? He asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. Most people are scared to challenge me. I paused, considering my answer. I guess I've seen you without your armor, I said finally, a smile creeping onto my face. Mark raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? There was that day with Max. You were panicking. I saw the real you, frustrated and scared, I explained. You weren't just the boss, you were a person, a caring person. I didn't think anyone noticed that, he said quietly, looking away. There was a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes, a side I had rarely seen. I did, I said softly. It showed me that everyone has their moments of fear, even someone like you. Mark sat up straighter, his expression shifting to something thoughtful. I never thought of it that way, he admitted. I've always felt like I had to be strong to do my job. Being strong doesn't mean hiding, Mark, I replied. It means being real. It means showing your true self, even when it's hard. He nodded slowly, mulling over my words. So, you think I've been hiding? Maybe a little, I said gently. Everyone does it sometimes, but you don't have to with me. I'm here, ready to support you. You don't always need to be the tough guy. A silence lingered between us, full of unspoken thoughts. I could see the gears turning in Mark's head. I guess I've built up this wall, he said finally. I didn't want anyone to see my weaknesses. I thought it made me look less capable. But it doesn't, I said, my voice earnest. I think it actually makes you more relatable. You show us that it's okay to mess up and feel scared. Mark looked at me as if seeing me for the first time. You really believe that? Absolutely, I said with a smile. It's human. We all stumble and fall sometimes. He smiled back, a hint of relief in his eyes. Thank you for telling me this. I think I needed to hear it. Suddenly I felt lighter. There was a shift in the air, an understanding forming between us. I'm glad you're open to hearing it, Mark. It shows you're growing. His expression softened. You really helped me see things in a new light. I appreciate that more than you know. As the night deepened, I felt our friendship strengthening. With each moment of honesty, we were breaking down barriers. Let's keep this going, Mark said, leaning forward. Let's keep being real with each other. Deal, I replied, feeling excited. We shared a laugh, the tension completely gone. For the first time, I felt like we were truly on the same team, not just boss and assistant, but friends. In that moment, I knew we had both opened up to something new. As the stars twinkled outside, I felt hopeful about where our relationship was headed. Maybe we could navigate our personal storms together. After all, we were both learning and growing, and that felt like the start of something special. As the weeks rolled on, Mark and I had transformed into a strong team. Our conversations flowed easier, and I could almost feel an unspoken bond forming between us. One bright Monday morning, Mark walked into the office with a determined look on his face. "Anaya, we need to talk," he said as I looked up from my computer, curious. "What's up?" I replied, my heart racing a little. "It seems our biggest competitor just landed a major deal. We need to step up our game and fast," he said, his voice serious. "Yikes, that can't be good for us," I said, feeling the weight of his words. "What's our plan?" He pulled out a chart displaying all our upcoming deadlines. "This is our chance to shine. If we can deliver an outstanding proposal by Friday, we might beat them." "Friday? That's just 4 days away," I exclaimed, feeling the pressure rise. "I know," Mark replied, running a hand through his hair, "but we can do it. I believe in our partnership." I took a deep breath. "Okay, let's brainstorm ideas right now." For the next several hours, we dove into our work, bouncing ideas off each other. I could see Mark's ideas coming together, and I felt inspired. "Your creative flair really brings this to life," he said, his eyes lighting up. "What if we presented our proposal with a fun, interactive element?" "Great idea," I replied, my heart racing with excitement. "We could use visuals and maybe even a small demo. It'll set us apart." Mark smiled, his usual serious demeanor shifting. "Exactly. I knew I could count on you." As we worked, I noticed how naturally we communicated. We could finish each other's sentences, and our minds clicked in sync. It felt like we were meant to work together. But as we hammered out details, I sensed a tension building outside. I could hear whispers from the other teams about our competitors. "They're moving fast," I overheard Jesse say to someone. "They have a lead." Mark caught my eye, and I felt a jolt of anxiety. "We need to focus," he said, sounding determined. "Let's keep our heads down and meet later to review our final draft." "Right," I replied, forcing a smile. "No distractions." The following days were a blur of late nights and endless coffee. We barely left the office, our eyes glued to our work. Each time Mark and I would sit down, we'd strategize and push each other to be better. "You're doing amazing, Anaya," Mark said late one night as he pored over the proposal. "I can't believe how quickly we've come together." "Thanks, Mark. I couldn't have done it without your leadership," I replied, the camaraderie between us growing stronger. But then came news that sent shivers through my spine. I overheard some colleagues talking in the break room. "I heard their presentation is almost ready. They're aiming to steal the spotlight." I leaned against the wall, my heart pounding. We were in real trouble if we didn't get our proposal finalized. "Mark," I said, rushing back into his office, "I think we might be in deeper than we thought. There's a chance they might present before us." He looked alarmed. "What do you mean?" Friday. We have to finalize everything right now." I breathed, panic rising. Mark straightened up, his eyes focused. "Okay, we can do it. But we'll need to work all night if we want to beat them." I nodded, determination flooding through me. "Let's get to it." As the hours ticked by, the pressure mounted. Our final presentation had to be perfect. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how much was riding on this. Finally, just as we finished the last of the slides, Mark looked at me, his expression serious. "It's now or never, Anaya." I swallowed hard, the weight of the deadline settling in. And we're running out of time. We exchanged nervous glances, the reality of our looming deadline hanging heavy in the air. Would our hard work be enough to save us? Would we overcome the competition? As Friday loomed closer, our future felt uncertain, and all I could think was that we had to give it everything we had. Did you ever find yourself in a tough situation that tested your friendships or teamwork? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you overcame the challenges and what you learned along the way.